back to the Tabletop Hot Rod Shop. I'm Si, and thank you for joining me for part 2 of the Little Deuce Coupe build. In part 1 I explained my plans for this model and showed you how I squeezed that elephant sized Hemi into the chassis, dropped the suspension and converted the steering to a more traditional arrangement. This episode we're going to shoot some Volkswagen Mars red paint on it and complete the build of this stunning 3-window showstopper. Please follow along and check out my other car builds, including part 1 of this 32. I'll put links in the comments box. If you haven't, don't forget to subscribe to my channel or click on the thumbs up. I welcome all your comments and I really appreciate all your support. Now let's carry on with this stunning hot rod build. I'm applying a healthy coat of Volkswagen Mars Red on the major body parts. As you'll see, Wilma's making another guest appearance. Bye Wilma. Have a nice day. Some black paint on the underdash gauge cluster. Then we're applying some to the dash panel itself. The radiator. Then the grille shell insert. I used a trick that I shared on the 62 Corvette build to add some depth to the chrome. Now I'm adding some detail to the engine that I built a while back. We'll also add some paint to the calipers too. Rear axle installation, and it looks fantastic against the red chassis. Here I've crudely modified the prop shaft to fit between the gearbox and the axle. Some detail paint on the interior tub. Here I'm doing the pedals, steering column and the roll hoop. Funnily enough, the roll hoop actually came from the Masmanian Gasser model as well as the engine. Seemed like it'd be a good fit in here as well. Silver paint pen on the interior features before fitting the roll hoop into the interior tub. Some silver pen detail on the dashboard, then we'll assemble the steering and dashboard into the tub in one hit. As you'll see, it gets very fiddly with glue on several parts all at the same time. Voila, all done. Beautiful. Glass into the windshield frame. Then the rear glass into the body shell and back to the windshield frame to install the rear view mirror. It's all in the details. Getting the front screen into position. Very tidy. Painting the running boards with matte black paint. For some reason, I did find this process tedious, but it is rewarding for how realistic it makes the car look. Master cylinder being put into place. The rear spreader bar. The rear bumper. The front bumper for a resto look. The radiator getting glued onto the back of the grille shell. The exhaust headers needed shortening and some collectors adding. Some plastic tubing was found in the spares box and added to the end of the shortened pipes. A lick of metal paint and they're all complete. Surprisingly for me, the rear wheels are the box supplied 5-spokes. The tyres are from the 62 Corvette model. The front wheels are my all-time favourite 5-spoke front runners. I found these at Competition Resins. The front wheels go on now as they'll be high up in the wheel arches and this will avoid any fitting damage. The prop shaft to the rear axle is installed. The engine needs to be temporarily put in place and some tape is used to hold it. Once dry, the engine is out and the front suspension and assembly is installed. Time spent creating a sub-assembly proves to be well spent, as can be seen. I'm really pleased with this setup, it looks amazing. Now the back wheels can be installed. I absolutely love the contrast against the red paint. Trial fit of the interior tub looks great, but there are issues ahead. I hadn't accounted for the transmission tunnel accommodating the gearbox. It needed some modification, relieving where it touched while desperately trying not to encroach on the painted interior. While I did go through in a few places, a lick of paint will disguise it. The body didn't fit very well over the rear arches either, so it was relieved where it touched the chassis rails. The paint would need to be touched up with a brush afterwards. The exhaust tips painted black on the inside and then installed onto the engine. Right, let's get that engine in. Glue on the engine mounts and prop shaft, and in she goes. Look at that, beautiful. Radiator assembly. We had to modify a top hose to fit the engine to the radiator. The interior tub gets bonded into the body shell now. When we look through the windows, it looks fantastic. Firewall in. Door handles. Headlight assembly. Propped into place and left to dry. Let's get on with the bonnet. I wanted a bonnet to fit over the engine, so I attacked the painted parts with my trusty Makita. Once I roughly cut out the shape of the bonnet scoop, I used files and sanding sticks to define the shape and get a snug fit. The lower apron was squeezed into place. Then the rad cap and the fuel filler. Tacking the chassis where the body touches. Body and chassis all as one. Trial fit of the modified bonnet over the blower scoop. Then the tricky hood sides. Makita in action. Note it's a triangular shape as the engine compartment narrows towards the front of the car. Some extra clearance required around the new engine mounts. Sandpaper the edges and final fit. A quick lick of paint and then we'll get onto the decals. I must warn you, the teardrop lights are tiny. Painted silver, and I'm showing you now where I've put some decals on the car as well. I also put a number plate on the back of it. The fiddly steering column shaft to the box. Chassis complete. Finally, a bit of brake cleaner on a cotton bud to remove the silver paint pen and reveal the red lenses. All these details add up to a stunning looking red 32 Ford. What a car! My vision for this 32 3-window coupe was very specific. It had to conjure the image of having been in the ownership of a long-term hot rodder. The timeline was 1950 to 1968. He was devoted to updating his weekend toy as the trends changed. Ultimately housing a blown injected Hemi and an elegant interior, this Deuce was heading for the show circuit, gathering trophies at all those mid-60s indoor car shows. I absolutely loved this build. It was challenging at times, but once that colour went on, wow. The engine is out the John Masmanian Willys Coupe, as was the roll bar. The rear tyres are from the 62 Corvette kit. The 5-spoke dragster spindle mount wheels, which are my personal favourite wheel of all time, are from competition resins in the United States. I hope you enjoyed this build. I'm sure you'll agree this Deuce looks amazing and straight off the front covers of those popular hot rod magazines. Give me a thumbs up if you like this build. I welcome your comments, the more the merrier, and I look forward to bringing you the next one. Adios, my amigos. I'll see you on the next episode of Tabletop Hot Rod Shop. Peace.